Morning wake up here, 1320 WILS and add.com for the podcast, live streaming, and all those goodies that are available online. We're going to talk more about the presidential race here, and Donald Trump has been really grilled about specifics. And, he pushes back pretty hard, but he's been asked, okay, you say you're going to do this, how will you do it? And one of the areas that he has really been railing on has been illegal immigration into America, people coming across the border, not just from Mexico, other countries, Central America, Mexico, maybe not nearly as flagrant as some of the others, there's no question. But now he's newly released a plan that he says would solve America's immigration problem if he's elected president. And one of the keys here has to do with deportation, and not just taking and splitting off families, but sending them back en masse. Will this work? Do Republicans, they're the ones who count right now because they're voting in the primary, not Democrats. He hasn't made it to a general election. But do they agree with this very tough talk by Trump, political strategist, author of Ladies, Can't We Talk? America Needs Our Vote. Debbie Georgatos has been here before and joins us again. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, Dave. Thanks for having me.
So what was your take on what Trump has put forward here with a multi-pronged plan, but at the core of it, saying that if you're here illegally, you need to be deported and you get back in line, but you need to go first. You need to go, bottom line.
I think it's an amazing thing to watch. Over the decades in America, we have come to think that the idea of requiring that people who entered America illegally, who have no right to be here, requiring them to leave is an absurd or extreme position. It's only absurd or extreme because of what's happened over the decades where we have been kind of pummeled by political correctness, by the lobbying groups, and frankly even by the people on the right, the Chambers of Commerce, saying that you can't speak that way. So what I really think is that in the plan he spelled out, I've read his immigration plan about 4 times now. He doesn't really come up with money where he's talking about really, marching through the streets of inner cities and pulling people out of their homes and sending them home. He doesn't have funding, or really, that's not even a plank of what his actual proposal is. I think he's just trying to express a sentiment. And I'm not a Trump supporter, and I don't think he'll be our candidate, but the conservative candidate. But I think he's just expressing a sentiment. Why have we agreed as a country that just because you entered illegally, you somehow got a right to stay, and we have to find a way to help you stay? And I think that people kind of why is it we've done that? But I don't think he's really seriously talking about round them up and send them home, even though I know what he said.
Debbie, earlier in the campaign, I say earlier, we are still early in the campaign. For goodness sake, it's the endless campaign cycle, and we play into that, we know it. But, early in the campaign, he said, if it weren't for me, no one would be talking about this. Now, I disagree with him on that because there's been a good deal of talk. Maybe Republicans don't like what they hear, but there's been talk. What I do agree with him on is that he has been able to and been willing to cross the threshold of superficial and get to the core of, I guess, that anger that and you just broached on it, that we've been maybe a little namby-pamby with it, to say the very least. He's been willing to cross that as opposed to saying, well, I'll have a 3-point plan and we'll deal with it and I'll have a focus group too. No, he's gone far beyond that and tapped in. Would you agree that tapping in has been part of his surge in popularity with the Republicans?
I do, and specifically, I think it's a great point. David, specifically as to the people in Washington, Republican voters who gave the Republicans a majority in the Senate, they have a majority in the House, they listened to all the candidates' promise. We get up there, we're going to stop President Obama. We're not going to have this amnesty thing. And President Obama has pushed forward his executive order amnesty, and he pushes forward and pushes, and the Republicans, the GOP establishment, and the leadership and the GOP in Washington, they don't ever fight. They say strong things in campaigns, and they just go there and back down. And so I think that a lot of the anger Donald Trump is tapping into is people feeling like the GOP is kind of impotent in Washington. They just, not just on immigration, that's a huge one, but on many issues, they just capitulate over and over. And that's, I think people are thinking, wow, maybe Donald Trump wouldn't just capitulate to the left.
Debbie, even more than impotent with this, but complicit in the idea that, many in the establishment GOP are just about providing and facilitating cheap labor. So, but he said that. And that resonates with some people who say, yeah, that's truth to power, baby. Right there. You no, I mean, I'm not saying I'm advocating for him either. I'm saying I get it. I get that part of it, and this has been something that just has been, hush hush. He's talking about it, and you can like him or hate him, and most people don't have an in between on Donald Trump. But that part is true. There is a mindset with many Republicans that there's a go along to get along or worse when it comes to establishment GOP, cheap labor, and illegal immigration.
That is so true. I reread this morning a story about Disney that had selected, it was like 350 employees, and not only let them go, these are IT people, these are not the park workers, but IT workers, they had let them go, and many of them had to train their immigrant replacements, or people here on visas who are non-American citizens, had to train their replacements. And that kind of story doesn't just resonate with those people who lost their jobs. The people read it on the internet and they think, wait a minute, we are taking jobs away from American workers because foreign workers legally here are willing to work for less. It's happening especially with the H-1B visas. It's happening with the high-tech people where they're saying, why are our kids go to college, they go to grad school, they get fabulous education, they're ready to work and jump in, and the GOP elite in Washington, in cahoots with the chambers of commerce around the country, are locking arms and saying, we'll help you get cheaper labor, so you're paying your taxes to help the people in Washington enable other people from other countries to take jobs American workers need. I think all of that is a part of the American anger that Donald Trump is really, honestly, brilliantly tapping into.
It's changing the dynamic out there right now, despite the fact that he still has an uphill road. I know he's leading, but I think he still has an uphill road to get to anywhere near the nomination, and we are still early in the process. A lot of things could change. Events. Political strategist, author of Ladies, Can We Talk? America Needs Our Vote. Debbie Georgatos, so we welcome her on the program today, and we'll welcome you back again. Debbie, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
All right, more coming up. It's the Morning Wake Up. This is 1320 WILS.